The meeting will please come to order. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our City Council meeting. My name is Trippy Congo, President of Wilmington City Council. And again, on behalf of all of my colleagues, we want to thank everyone for joining us, those who are in council chambers and everyone who is online with us. Thank you so much. Again, for any public comment, there is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat for anyone who would like to give public comment, which will take place after non-legislative business. At this time, we will have our opening prayer by Akira Granado.
Heavenly Father, we have assembled to handle the affairs of our city. As we do so, we ask for your guidance and understanding. We pray that our city reaches a place of peace and safety. Keep us out of harm's way and bless those who are in authority. Let respect be key in all our endeavors. Amen.
Amen. Amen. At this time, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman White,
Present.
Councilwoman Darby, Councilwoman Oliver,
Present.
Councilwoman Harley,
Present.
Councilwoman Fields,
Present.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Here.
Councilman Johnson,
Here.
Councilman Field,
Present.
Councilwoman Cabrera, Councilman Mills,
Present.
Councilman Spadola,
Present.
Councilwoman Bracy, President Congo.
Here.
10 present and 3 absent.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have the reading of the minutes of our previous meeting.
May 16, 2024, City Council met on regular session with remote participation on the above date at 6:30 p.m. President Ernest M. Congo II presiding. The opening prayer was done by Mayor Balsejo, City Clerk. The Pledge of Allegiance was recited by City
I
Council.
move that the
At
minutes
this
be
time, I move for
accepted
this minutes to be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the minutes be accepted as written. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. At this time, we will have our committee reports.
May 9, 2024, President, members of Council, City of Wilmington, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Community Development Urban Planning Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation to whom was referred ordinance number 22037 entitled, an ordinance to amend Chapter 14 of the City Code pertaining to historic markers. I've given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilwoman Cabrera, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman Spadola, President Congo absent with leave, Councilwoman Darby, Councilwoman McCoy, and Councilman White.
I move that the committee report be received, the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
May 9, 2024, we, your Community Development and Urban Planning Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation to was referred ordinance number 24021 entitled, an ordinance to approve the removal of a portion of Wilson Street located between East 12th and 13th Streets and 2 unnamed alleys located between Wilson Street and Clifford Brown Walk from the official city map. I've given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present: Councilwoman Cabrera, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman Spadola, President Congo absent with leave, Councilwoman Darby, Councilwoman McCoy, and Councilman White.
Move this committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The report be received, recorded, and filed. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
May 9th, 2024, we, your Community Development Urban Planning Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation to who was referred ordinance number 24022 entitled, an ordinance to approve the major subdivision plan entitled 1225 and 1320 East 8th Street, and to authorize the removal of a 0175 acre segment of right-of-way located at the terminus of East 8th Street from the official city map. I've given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present, Councilwoman Cabrera, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman Spadola, President Congo, absent with leave, Councilwoman Darby, Councilwoman McCoy, and Councilman White.
I move that this committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second, the report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to recognize council members Johnson and Bracy and Field.
So noted.
Thank you.
May 20th, 2024, we, your Public Works and Transportation Committee, met by anchor location remote participation to was referred ordinance number 23029 entitled, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the City Code to create a procedure whereby residents may petition the Department of Public Works to conduct traffic studies and install traffic calming devices. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilman White, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman Spadola, and President Congo.
I move this committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second, the report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
May 20th, 2024, we, your Public Works and Transportation Committee, met by anchor location remote participation to was referred ordinance number 24028 entitled, an ordinance to authorize and approve 3 one-year extensions of amended contract 22002 WDPS pump, valve, and miscellaneous mechanical equipment maintenance services between the City of Wilmington and Municipal Maintenance Company. I've given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilman White, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman Spadola, President Congo.
I move this committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
May 20th, 2024, we, your Public Works and Transportation Committee, met by anchor location remote participation to was referred ordinance number 24029 entitled, an ordinance to authorize and approve 3 one-year extensions of amended contract 22003 WDPS water distribution system, electrical equipment management, and maintenance services between the City of Wilmington and Willier Electric Motor Repair Company, Inc. I've given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilman White, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman Spadola, and President Congo.
I move this committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
May 20th, 2024, we, your Public Works and Transportation Committee, met by anchor location remote participation to was referred ordinance number 24030 entitled, an ordinance to authorize and approve 2 one-year extensions of amended contract 24009 PWPS Municipal Complex Facilities Management between the City of Wilmington and Asset Management Alliance. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilman White, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman Spadola, and President Congo.
I move this committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
May 20th, 2024, we, your Public Works and Transportation Committee, met by anchor location remote participation to was referred ordinance number 24031 entitled, an ordinance to amend Chapter 42 of the City Code to revise the Underground Facilities Coordination Manual. I've given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilman White, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Fields, Councilman Spadola, and President Congo.
I move this committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. At this time, we will have our city treasurer's report.
June 6, 2024. Total investment, $501,475,135.27. Total cash on hand, $15,770,423.44. Grand total, $517,245,558.71. Submitted by Dwayne Sims, City Treasurer.
I move that the treasury report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I'll accept the motion to move to accept all non-legislative business.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to accept all non-legislative business on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We do have a few recognition resolutions. Going to ask Councilmember Oliver to come forward, please.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Marlean Brown up here and anybody in her family is here. Probably still at the shop working. I'd like to say a little bit about Marlean. Sheila gave me a little bit. She's being real nice about bias. I guess she didn't want to say too much. But Marlean's been doing hair for at least, her mother's Sadie, so if anybody knows Sadie. So Marlean grew up in the hair dresser business, and she's been doing hair for way over 35 years or more. And I've been to so many of her shops, and she's done so many different styles on me. It's ridiculous. People say you always look different. I go to Deneen now, but Marlean used to have me looking like Marilyn Monroe from Mary J. I mean, so many people. So I just thought it was only honoring to invite Marlean up here. She has a shop now. She used to be on the east side, west side. She's been all over, but now she's on Miller Road. And I go over there and visit her quite a bit. Okay, this is from Councilman Xanthia Oliver and all council members. Whereas it's a sense of City Council to honor individual organizations and organizations' outstanding achievement and are deserving of recognition and acknowledgments, Councilman Xanthia Oliver would like to recognize Marlean Brown, founder of Maya's Enterprise, one of such. Marlean has always believed in all people, and she deserves to be treated respectfully, no matter who they are and what place or what society they're from. Through her ministry, Marlean provides compassionate love and hope to help those in need, finding through clothes, through doing their hair for free, giving out food. She is definitely a missionary. In addition to her spiritual work, she's usually found timelessly raising funds to support individuals who are in need. Of her growing ministry, Marlean is also active in working with other churches to provide ministry and outreach care for numerous families. And whereas Marlean is the previous owner of Salon 3800, which was in the Northeast area. After the successful startup business, Marlean decided to fulfill her passion and helping full-time with her faith and guidance in the Lord. Marlean created the enterprise with street ministry that would provide hope and spiritual guidance and soul, in addition to everyday needs of poor and underprivileged people. Now, that's what she wrote. She didn't even hardly say nothing about all the work she's done in the hairdresser and dresser business, but that lets you know she's a very spiritual person and always out in the street giving out stuff and doing young girls' hairs. Anytime I call her, going back to school, she did a whole bunch of young ladies' hair for free, and that's what she does. She just has a heart of gold. She didn't even mention half the stuff I thought she would mention. Now there be it resolved by council of the city of Wilmington that this legislative body acknowledges Marlean Brown for her contributions to the community and her service and physical and spiritual. Job well done.
just want to thank the council for honoring me. It's been overwhelming, actually. But I want to thank you guys again. I do hair, but my passion is to help the community. So to, volunteer, I'm ready. So I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you, and I appreciate you, Zambia, for acknowledging me, and God bless. Yeah, I'll make some phone calls. Ready. All right, thank you.
Councilwoman Darby, also, I know that you also have a recognition. Do you want a few minutes, or you ready?
I'm good.
You ready? Okay. Councilmember Harley.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
thank you. I just wanted to first of all thank Councilmember Oliver for recognizing Marlean. Marlean has been a par excellent stylist in the city of Wilmington for many, many years. Marlean is I want to say she's, they say that the apple don't fall far from the tree. Her mother has been a well-known stylist in the city for many, many years. And I believe that Marlean probably got the itch and the niche to want to do hair, being in her mother's salon many, many years ago. So I just wanted to say congratulations on this recognition. Marlean is well-deserved. You know how I feel about your family, you, your sisters, your mother, your brother. And I want you to know that your sister Nikki did a great job last night representing Network Connect. So the whole family, y'all all about serving. You're about the community, and most definitely you're about love. So again, congratulations to you, and thank you, Councilmember Oliver, for recognizing Marlean.
All right, I'd like to recognize Councilmember Darby, and you may come forward at this time.
So noted.
Good evening. I think we have representatives from the African Unity, or the Organization of African Unity. Are you guys coming up, or? Center for Global Africa. Yes. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I have a resolution to present to the Center of Global Africa. Whereas it is the sense of City Council to honor individuals, organizations, and important occasions that are deserving of recognition and acknowledgement. Council Member Shanae Darby would like to recognize May 25th, 2024 as Africa Day. And whereas Africa Day 2024 marks the 61st anniversary of the establishment of the Organizations of African Unity, which is now known as the African Union. It also highlights the unique peoples and diverse cultural traditions of the 54 countries on the continent of Africa. And whereas this year's theme is Educate an African Fit for the 21st Century, building resilience education systems for increased access to inclusion, lifelong, quality, and relevant learning in Africa. 2024 Africa Day celebration showcases the rich heritage of Africa, which also bringing light to the persistent challenges that local communities face. And whereas the Center for Global Africa, CGA, works locally to nurture relationships between Africa, diaspora, and historically Black colleges and universities by merging and leveraging African diaspora intellectual capital and economic capabilities. CGA was founded in 2018 by Professor Aharon. Under his leadership, CGA has developed connections with the African Peer Review Mechanisms, a specialized agency of the African Union, to facilitate engagement and academic collaboration between African and American professionals. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Wilmington that this council is pleased to recognize Africa Day 2024 as it's time to celebrate Africa's resilience, achievements, and collective aspirations. We commend the professor and the Center for Global Africa for their ongoing efforts to create shared dialogue throughout Africa and the African diaspora. So thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. It's really an honor. I want to thank you, Councilwoman Darby, and of course, President Congo, who's familiar with our work, and Councilwoman Michelle Harley, who has attended many of our events. But this is beyond the Center for Global Africa. This is about the efforts of what was originally the Organization of African Union, which is now the African Union, to galvanize Africans, bring Africans together for the purpose of global growth and resilience, and being able to work together as Africa diaspora counterparts. And not too far from here, one of the founders of the original Organization of African Unity, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, attended Lincoln University. And so it demonstrates this connection that resonates today, because as we're here in this chamber and the focus is on governance, that's what the mandate of the African Union is about: good governance, connected to private sector partners. And so we're honored to be here today to be able to represent that global linkage. And our ambition is to be able to translate this from the ceremonious nature that we're here today into the substantive kinds of programs and connections that are going to really bring material changes both here and in Africa as we work together in a unified way based on the way the African Union mandate is part of the global and the diaspora ways that we all connect. So I want to thank you for this great honor, and the way you characterize the work of the African Union and the Center is right on point, so I don't have to say anything about that. So I thank you so much.
I would just like to say thank you to all members of Wilmington City Council and President Congo. You've been very supportive in terms of the work that we're leading here, and we look forward to building these relationships with you as well, particularly around business and trade and investment. So there are some great things on the horizon. And for you, Councilwoman Sinead Darby, I'd like to pin you with the CGA pin for the wonderful resolution, and thank you so much for all that you all do to support the work of the center. Thank you.
Councilmember Harley.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I just wanted to say congratulations to the Center of Global Africa representatives, to Mr. Ahiran, I believe, and to Alicia for the great work that they have been doing over the last several years, I would say. I appreciate the fact that when they do come to the city and they conduct and host different events in the 4th District, I really do appreciate them always inviting me to come and be a part of what they are coming to the city to do. I do believe that they demonstrate, what the gentleman just mentioned about substantive change. They always are sharing information when they come as it relates to Africa, how it connects to Delaware, how it connects to Wilmington, and how it connects across the country. So I even visited the Africa Day that was celebrated at the Wilmington Public Library on Africa Day. It was very informative. They shared a little presentation to talk about Africa Day and what it means. So I really appreciate their efforts, and whenever they have information that they want to share with Wilmington and coming to the 4th District, I pray that they will continue to make us aware so we can connect and we can continue to engage. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, I too would like to congratulate Africa Day. Alicia, I'm not familiar with the gentleman as much. I've heard a lot about him, but I know Alicia has been doing this work for years, and I just like to give kudos to her. She was a pioneer at Department of Labor and basically brought awareness to a couple of cases of when minorities were being discriminated against, and she won several cases with Department of Labor. So I do want to recognize Ms. Alicia for her work that she has been providing our community with for over 20 years. And I just like to give kudos to her to see that she is still in this fight. And congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Yes, I too just want to thank you both for everything that you are doing for our city and our county and our state. And I would encourage anyone who is a part of council, who is a part of government, and especially those who are in the public, to get involved. Their vision is incredible. And when it comes to fruition, I know that Wilmington will be a much better city, and Delaware will be a much better off state. So thank you both again for everything that you do. This time, Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you so much. I've been actually given the honor today to present a resolution to some of our heroes here in Wilmington, the Wilmington Fire Department. Are you here to receive the resolution? Thank you so much for being here. This resolution is actually created on behalf of our president, Trippy Congo. Whereas it is the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and deserving of recognition and acknowledgement. The members of the Wilmington Fire Department who participated in the June 2nd rescue mission at the Joseph R. Biden Jr. Railroad Station merit special accommodations. Whereas Joseph R. Biden Jr. Railroad Station is the hub of regional travel and commerce. It is a critical part of the Northeast Corridor, serving at least 9 passenger trains. And whereas on June 2nd, members of the Wilmington Fire Department were called to assist with the rescue of an individual from beneath a train car shortly after 7 p.m. Using specialized equipment, the firefighter team was able to successfully dislodge the woman within 15 minutes. Their careful teamwork and collaboration with other emergency responders was essential to quickly and cautiously bringing the woman to safety. Whereas we commend the members of the WFD for their swift action to prevent what could have been a tragedy. We thank all the members of WFD for their consistent and ongoing service to this city. We also offer appreciation to the WFD personnel who were present at the scene of the incident on June 2nd. Including Battalion Chief Michael Harris, Battalion Chief Eric Haley, Lieutenant Dennis Hitchens, Lieutenant Stephen Hovenin, Lieutenant Michael Maxwell, Lieutenant Jonathan Osika, Firefighter Jason Anderson, Firefighter Solomon Clark, Firefighter John Coppola, Firefighter Nicholas DeVesta, Firefighter John Flynn, Firefighter Aaron Gold, Firefighter John King Jr., Firefighter Andrew Millis, Firefighter Joseph Moser, Firefighter William O'Neill, Firefighter Mark Perry, and Probationary Firefighter Mark Powers. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Council of the City of Wilmington that this council is pleased to recognize the members of the Wilmington Fire Department for their heroic efforts and expert coordination with the St. Francis Hospital Emergency Medical Service and the Newcastle County paramedics to keep the residents and the visitors of our city safe. Job well done.
President Congo, Councilperson McCoy, members of council, thank you very much for the recognition. Chief Lonnie sends his greetings. He was unable to attend this evening. And unfortunately, our firefighters that were planning on attending are handling an emergency over on the west side right now. Minor emergency, everything's safe, but they were unable to make it back over to this meeting. So in the year 2015, the Fire Department Administration identified a need to begin rebuilding special operations for the Wilmington Fire Department. During that year and for the 9 years following, the department has strived hard to recreate a special operations unit that involves multiple personnel, multiple companies from around the city, and a rather robust program that specializes in 5 different levels or disciplines of rescue. one of which being special extrication like what occurred during the Amtrak train incident. We're proud to say that we've been able to train over 90 personnel over the last 9 years, and those personnel again represent all of our working shifts each day to where we have a well-qualified, well-experienced, and ready-to-go staff that's available all the time to assist citizens and visitors of our city. So again, we thank you for this recognition, and we thank you for providing us the resources that we need to train and do our job safely, properly, and effectively for all citizens and visitors to this city. Thank you very much.
Yes, I just, when the news flash came across my phone, I wanted to just recognize the fire department. A lot of times when the community thinks of your department, we just think of, you guys handling fires, but you do so much more. So again, we just want to thank you for everything that you do. Job well done. And other recognitions that I want to acknowledge from all of council, we want to recognize Providers Appreciation Day from Councilmember Cabrera. She wants to recognize National Caribbean American Heritage Month and the National League of Cities, Towns, and Villages Month. And from Councilmember Spadola, he would like to recognize Carvertise. That's not in person, right? Or is that in? Okay. All right. And as far as sympathy resolutions from all of council, we would like to recognize, we have a sympathy resolution for Orlando Lonnie George Jr. from Councilmember Cabrera, a sympathy resolution for Zykier Anthony Flowers from Councilmember Mills, sympathy resolutions for Dr. Sheila DuPont-Nichols and Tanya Laster from Councilmember Oliver, sympathy resolutions for Kamir Allen, Leroy Hubbard, Tamika Wright, Yasmin Stewart, and Charles Washington. And for myself and all of council, a sympathy resolution for Joe DiPinto. And we'd also like to acknowledge the death of one of our favorite city activists here in Wilmington, Sean Allen, who passed away a couple of days ago. But we will have an official sympathy resolution for Sean Allen. He did so much for our community and a lot for our youth. This time we will move to public comment.
Mr. President.
Yes,
I'm
Councilman
sorry,
Oliver.
it wasn't on the agenda, but I want to recognize LBGTQ month, but it was too late to get on the agenda, but this is their month, so it'll be on for next month.
Okay. We can probably do that on the, I think our next meeting is on the 20th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, we'd like to add to the results for all of council for Joe DiPinto. All right. This time we will move to public comment. This is a friendly reminder that there is a Google Form sign-up link in our chat for anyone who would like to speak. Your time limit is 3 minutes. When you get to around 30 seconds left, I will give you a friendly reminder, so please begin to wrap up your comments. Please remember to introduce yourself when you come up to the podium, and please be careful. We do have members from the public who are in chambers and also virtual, so we will, to be fair, we will go back and forth between council chambers and those who are with us virtually. We're going to start with Timeless Thomas, who is in council chambers. Thank you for joining us. Please remember to introduce yourself.
I am Timeless Thomas, and we are in the city today of Wilmington. We are at a full-fledged state of emergency. Yeah, we're at a state of emergency. That means it's time to panic. The violence has escalated. I was coming out my house today. It was a full-fledged riot in the middle of the street at Bancroft. Children, parents, police. It's completely out of control. But it's only taking place in specific corridors. So if you're over here, it might not seem like that to you. You might not experience the reality of the aftershock that the parents and families and the trauma that they're forced to function through. Okay, who do we blame? Who do I cook right here on this mic today? Absolutely nobody. This is fair warning that we come together. I bought a solution. How about that? Won't big mouth time, let's do it all. I bought a solution for y'all. This is what we must do sooner than immediately. Here's a good remedy. We have to put the kids to work immediately. The summer's not even here yet. We have to stop building whatever with whatever budget, and we have to create immediate summer jobs, and I mean immediate. If I'm working, if I'm making money, I'm setting goals. I'm too busy to beef. If I'm in poverty and you're in poverty, we're both mad. Physics says when it's hotter, it's more violent. And so what more do you want? Do you want the pastor's family to get violated? See, when it happens to certain people, you know, he ain't gonna let his foot off the gas. That brings a national spotlight to those that are in charge of, that are in leadership. And I'm not gonna blame you guys to become gang resolutionists. I'm not gonna ask you, can you stop a violent crime because you signed up for city council? I'm not gonna put that on you, but I'm gonna say together.
You got 30 seconds.
Oh, I'm almost done. I'm going to say together, that needs to be the next big meeting. What are we going to do? We got to get these kids some jobs, and that's what I have to say.
Good job.
Did I ask Mayor Przicki to take charge of that? Can he take charge of that? Can I ask the mayor to find a budget for some summer youth immediate attention? And thank you very much. We don't need no more babies hurt or dead. We don't need it. Because it's yours and mine. You know that's whatchamacallit's daughter. You know you went to school with Thingamabob's son. It's Wilmington. It's small. We know
10
these
seconds.
people. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, virtually, we have Daniel Beck. WITN is Daniel Beck. Visible?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you for joining us.
Sorry. Hello?
Yeah, they can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
They can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me, sir? Sorry.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, they can hear you.
Okay. I guess I'll just start speaking. Hi, I'm Dan Beck. I'm the Vice President of Trinity Vicinity Neighborhood Association, although I should say I'm not speaking on behalf of the Neighborhood Association. These are my own views. You know, I haven't taken a vote with the Neighborhood Association or anything like that. However, I have been talking to a lot of the residents in Trinity Vicinity, but also West Center City and Quaker Hill, because all of those neighborhoods, you know, loosely, you know, well, they all connect with each other between 95 to about Washington, and then from like 11th down to 2nd. And one of the things I keep hearing from all the neighbors of all different stripes is, you know, that there are many problems with blight, which, you know, comes as no surprise to anybody. But then the question becomes, how do we abate the blight? And one of the things that keeps coming up over and over again that people are telling me is that they're having problems with the Design and Review Commission. So this has to do with the Historic Commission that, as I understand it, was put in place in the 70s. But basically for people to make repairs on their homes, you know, they have to go through a very lengthy process, submit all kinds of documents to the commission. And this can be very expensive, very time consuming, very difficult for most people to even do at all. And the result of this is a lot of people, and I've heard from lower income residents who are stuck in their homes who can't make repairs, people even who are of some means who are, having trouble making repairs to their homes. And the effect of this actually creates blight. So properties fall into disrepair. And then moreover, people don't want to buy homes in these historic districts. And I'm talking specifically about Trinity and Quaker Hill. So people know that there are these issues that they have to go through to even buy these properties. And, they just don't, they don't want to invest in the neighborhood. So, and another reason, as I understand it, that these historic commissions were put into place was to stabilize home values. You're not stabilizing home values when you have blighted properties in these districts. Lastly, because I know I'm probably short on time.
Yes, you have 30 seconds.
You do have to ask, and I'm not talking about like the Wilmington Public Library. I'm not talking about, say Trinity Episcopal Church and Trinity vicinity, but these are, residential areas. I don't see any walking historic tours going through Trinity vicinity or Quaker Hill. So the question becomes, are these historic districts, or do we want to be history if we're not allowing reasonable, equitable real estate development in these areas? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next in council chambers, we have Baba Hammond. Thank you for joining us, and please remember to introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Baba Hameen, and give greetings, peace, City Council President Trippy, and to the council. And I want to congratulate you and give you big props. I'm a little bit nervous. To all the council people who have been working diligently for the city. And there has been a come up in the city. And that's what I'm going to speak about. For who? The come up has happened, and I welcome it. It's very nice. A lot of things that you see around here, but it has nothing to do with us. So I'm asking the council, over the past 5 years, I'm going to read this so I can go fast. If I talk too fast, I'm sorry. Over the past 5 years, how has Wilmington government specifically addressed the economic disparities, inequities, and equality of life between African-American citizens compared to other residents of the city? I'm sure those concerns are measurable. Therefore, has there been any periodic report drawn up by the city government that offers a state of affairs for African-Americans compared to just 5 years ago? In other words, is there a written evidence-based public report that cites the gains or losses of African-Americans in Wilmington over the past 5 years? Tests show that African-American students, on the average, are alarmingly far behind whites in math, science, reading, and writing. For instance, black students at the end of their high school career are almost 4 years behind white students in reading, and the gap is comparable in other subjects. More importantly, can we view your State of the Race report, if you have one? And if you don't have one, could you create one? So, similar to what was done at UD with Dr., I forget his name. He did a very comprehensive report on State of the Race for Delaware, but I'm talking about specifically Wilmington. That's what I'm here to ask for. And I'm going to give some metrics. If I have enough time, I have 60 seconds. Have African-American homeowners increased since these last 5 years? These questions have to be answered. And have African-American children scored higher in academic skills since 5 years ago? Have African-American male employment increased since 5 years ago? Has African-American businesses increased? And a report came out just a couple weeks ago, said there is more black businesses. Has there been less crime in the city in the last 5 years? Has there been more corporate investment in the city in the last 5 years? Has there been more job opportunities within the city in the last 5 years? Has African women's health improved in the city in the last 5 years? Have African-American life longevity increased in the city in the last 5 years? Are more African-American youth being prepared for work in the last 5 years in Wilmington? Are African-American children healthier than before in the last 5 years? or less African-American women suffering from heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes, maternal morbidity, and obesity and stress over the last 5 years.
You have 20 seconds.
Or more African-American families intact in the last 5 years, or that is less single-parent households. Has been a decrease in prison recidivism. I'm sorry for saying that wrong. Since the last 5 years, has there been a decrease in homelessness in the last 5 years? Has there been any clear indicators of economic upward mobility of African Americans in the last 5 years? Lastly, what overall good news can be said about this city that has made a significant difference in the quality of life of African American with Wilmingtonians? Lastly, is there any other way for progress for the neglected ones to be achieved in the city other than to put the onus on nonprofits, 501c3s. So I thank you for your patience and my stumbling through it. I got to get to karate, pick my son up. So thank you for your patience and reading of this statement. I know it's a bunch of questions, so I'll make copies for every one of you. So you can get these questions and maybe can hire a company like JP Morgan did, like UD did, but can we have something so in 5 years from now, we can say there is an increase or decrease of the situation. And I'll leave you with a proverb, an African proverb. I love this one. For the child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. Peace.
Thank you. And virtually we have James Filtz. James Filtz.
Good afternoon, good evening. This is James Phelps, resident of District 4. On May 22nd, I attended the Design Review Preservation Commission meeting on behalf of my husband, Daniel Beck, who you heard from earlier. This was pertaining to a matter at the church within Trinity vicinity, the Sacred Heart Church. It was concerning to me to hear from the petitioners at this meeting that many of these petitioners have had to wait in line months to get all of their documentation together, invest thousands upon thousands of dollars in architectural drawings, architects, additional work. Some of the people had to have fossil analysis of the soil to make sure that the soil is appropriate to build on. And when I listened to the work that these individuals were looking to do to these properties, it was both heartwarming and terrifying that the work they're looking to do was tearing down blighted properties, adjusting homes to accommodate a disabled family member, building low-income senior housing, or fixing a broken sign at a church. The work that this historic commission is doing, while it might seem noble in some ways, is thwarting economic development in the city and adding and increasing the problems that we have within Wilmington with the blight problem. Rather than punishing residents for the historic commission, why don't we instead reward them for fixing up their properties instead of damaging them? The social justice elements of this are huge. We recently attended a meeting of the West Center City neighborhood meeting that Councilwoman Fields was so gracious to invite us to, since we live on the border of these two districts. And I heard directly from residents that they can't even afford to fix up their own homes because of the historic commission rules and regulations that go into house repairs. And that's if you can even find a contractor in the first place, as contractors are not happy in many cases to work within the city. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next in council chambers, we have Pastor D. And thank you for joining us, and please remember to introduce yourself. I'll give you a 30-second reminder. We have when you have a few seconds left. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of council. Pastor Derek Johnson of the Joshua Harvest Church and resident of North Wilmington. I've come tonight to appeal to council collectively and each of you individually. In fact, to urge you on behalf of, let me say first, a coalition of organizations, pastors that we formed in North Wilmington in response to the girl group violence. I no longer want to call them a gang and call what's happening in our city, call these girls gangs. But they are groups of girls who are involved in gang-like activity and criminal activity, which about approximately a week ago saw my 12-year-old daughter as one of 4 victims in North Wilmington of this specific group in North Wilmington. Violence where 12-year-old girls' ribs were fractured and cracked, and skulls and faces were scratches, cracked, stitches received, children hospitalized with concussions and such. I do realize this is taking place not only, Councilman Fields, God bless you, we pray for you, there in West Wilmington. It's not only taking place in North Wilmington. However, this series of attacks that took place, about a week ago, were particularly vicious, and the coalition was formed around a response to that. We formed this coalition, and with the help of Councilwoman Oliver, met with the police chief and police officials with respect to these specific incidents. Reports were filed by parents, mothers, the school was contacted, video, all of these attacks, these children videotape themselves committing these crimes and acts on each other. And so reports were filed, promises were made by the chief, officers were assigned to the cases, and at that point we were satisfied that that leg of what needs to happen there in North Wilmington was done. But the coalition, we held a news conference and we called it a call to action, made some suggestions that need to happen in that particular, from 22nd Street, North Wilmington to 26th Street, that needed to happen immediately in that area. Things like the patrolling of the police and how they patrol in that area, when they patrol, and what have you. This is based on the fact that there have been several killings in that area, and based on who was killed and our knowledge that there would be retaliatory killing, et cetera. So we made these suggestions. The suggestions were not followed, although the chief committed and the officers there committed to it. Because the suggestions were not followed, investigations were not made, the group that committed the violence against our children are still functioning in North Wilmington. Our children, however, we have had to keep in the house, can't allow to go into the parks because that's where they are and play, and have had to, since that time, restrict their outdoor activities while the perpetrators are there in the parks and targeting other victims and doing this. Again, this is not just taking place in North Wilmington, but this is what happened in our particular
You have 15
case.
seconds.
We're here tonight, and I'm here tonight because on today, my daughter's mother received a call from a detective who is a young detective who knows nothing about the situation, wanting to investigate now the group violence that happened with my daughter. In other words, I don't know what happened with the reports we filed. They must have been passed off. And this has happened in the cases of each of the parents. I'm trying to close. One of our parents, throughout all of this, and this brings me to what I want to ask of you, city council members. Throughout these past 6 days, we have one of our parents, 2 or 3 of our parents, but one of them specifically, call the mayor, get the mayor to visit this area, to respond to what's taking place in North Wilmington. She said in the news conference she has not heard back, and the mayor's office will not respond. They have not answered her calls or called her back. She was calling on behalf of the entire
Please begin to wrap up your
coalition.
faster.
So that is one of our problems, that we have not been able to get the mayor to respond. We have not been able to get justice in the cases of the 4 girls that I mentioned, of which one is my daughter, and we're currently having to keep our children in, and currently dissatisfied with this issue has been handled by the police. Within the period of time, I end with this, that we charged that there would be violence in this area, as Timeless Thomas pointed to, escalated in the coming days, changed to patrolling now. 2 people have been murdered. 15-year-old girl has been shot in the arm. Helicopter has landed in that area, all in the same area that we warned. For the mayor not to respond, for the police to handle things in the way they have, it's very disappointing and upsetting to us. And again, our children are currently living in and not able to enjoy their city, while the perpetrators are roaming the streets looking for other targets and doing what they do, and that is unacceptable. So I ask you as members of council, if you will individually and collectively do 2 things. 1, just make a call to the mayor. It's not political. It doesn't matter what what district you represent. The point is, we need the mayor
Pastor,
to
please begin to wrap up your
respond.
comments.
And if you would individually contact the police chief and insist that the cases he has already received, that they would be resolved and resolved quickly and expeditiously.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
And virtually we have D. Marquis Hall. WITN is Devon Marquis Hall still with us?
I'm actually on my way into the building. If I could come in, if you can have someone who's in there speak before me, I could speak when I come in.
Okay, that's fine. We are going to take I'm going to accept a motion to extend public comment. It is almost 7:30, so again, by council rules, we need to extend public comment to give everyone an opportunity to continue to speak. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next, in council chambers, we have Donisha Clayton. And then after her, we're going to have Pastor Larry. And Pastor Larry, if you don't mind just coming and standing against the wall, please, so you'll be ready to go next. Thank you for joining us, and please remember to introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Donisha Clayton, and I live in the North Wilmington area by Price'sburg, where my daughter was assaulted, and she has nothing to do with this. She has sustained multiple injuries. The police has not gotten back with us. A lot of broken promises. My daughter feel like she's in prison in her own home because she can't go outside because she doesn't know. And then one of the perpetrators live on our same block. So who wants their child to go out and constantly be attacked by this? You get what I'm saying? We have to do something. I myself called the mayor's office. They never responded back to me. They took my message. They told me they were gonna call me back in 24 hours. It's now, what, a week and a half, 2 weeks maybe? Haven't gotten any answers from nobody. So I guess, what do we do next? What is the next steps? That's all I have to say. We have to do better.
Thank you. Pastor Larry, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening to the chair, Chair President Congo, and to all the councilmen, councilwomen. I'm just standing up here in representation of the same families that just stood, and it gets funny to me on several occasions. Police officers have certain districts that they work. Our council people have certain districts that they work, but it's a Wilmington problem. And that's the only thing that gets me sometime is when the citizenship comes to any other council people, we should not say that a problem is not my district. A police officer shouldn't say that that's not my area, because it's a Wilmington problem. And if we're gonna work together, everyone is collectively together right here, then why can't we be collectively together out there with a problem, one problem?
Agreed.
I have been to several of the different council people, and I respect y'all. I come and I support. So we need to come together as council people to support each council area. I mean, one thing about it, I always notice over a police call, if they say officer down, they're coming from Newcastle, they'll come from Newark, they'll come from near, far, and they'll answer the call when they says officer down. All law things are off, they're just coming. So when there's a problem in the city, I think that we should let all districts, that this is my district, it's only your district until it becomes your problem. So just like with Pastor D and his daughter, things hit home. Pastor D been fighting a long time he's done 400 funerals for kids around here, and now it's his time and his child. So all we asking is for everybody to step up to the plate, because I'll roll my sleeves up for you, then you should roll your sleeves up for me. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have D. Marquis Hall. Thank you for joining us.
I really feel privileged tonight to speak. I feel privileged to be here. I was on my way from the hospital, and I feel blessed because, I used the virtual just in case I was still there in order to still be able to participate in this meeting. I wanted to talk about public health. I wanted to talk about safety. And I wanted to talk about history. I heard on the agenda mentioned the Trinity vicinity and Trinity Church. A couple Sundays ago, I was there. Well, couple Sundays ago, and couples too, I was at Old Swedes for their 325th, their sister churches. The history that is significant to me about Old Swedes is that those settlers from Sweden came here, and that's a historical landing, that's a historic site, and still today we have a pharmaceutical manufacturer that pollutes and that would have got bigger without anybody's knowledge if there wasn't a public outcry, if there wasn't any sort of information session, if there wasn't any sort of attention brought to it, if there wasn't a petition that almost 400 people signed to say that they shouldn't expand on their pollution in this historic area where there are placards. Last week, or this past Sunday, I was at what the First and Central congregation, they're Presbyterian, they call the little church on the Brandywine. They're around 200-something years old. Today is the anniversary of D-Day, the March on Normandy, 80 years. When we don't realize where we're at, and we don't realize the war that is afoot in our own communities, I'm talking about ecological devastation. The war economy is right here. Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Delaware County, right here. I drove tanks and Hummers on the ships down at the port. It's my moral obligation to not do what I know is wrong. I believe in God. Alicia Clark was up here. I sent her an email. I forwarded her the email from Anthony Albans, letting me know that because of my record, because I forged prescriptions, the same prescriptions that Naramco makes now, back in 2009, I forged prescriptions. That's on my record.
You have 30 seconds.
So 2011, I was convicted of a crime. They caught me. They said, you forged. You got a forgery on your record. Anthony Albans, the commissioner, said that I can't run for governor. Alicia Clark, she led an organization called Be the Change, young people. We had a meeting with then Governor Markell about how we would stop a Ferguson-like situation from happening here in Wilmington. This was before Jeremy McDowell was killed in his wheelchair. I sent her the email. I forwarded it to her. I said, why don't you run for governor?
Thank you. And next we have Carmina Taylor.
Alicia Clark for governor.
And thank you for joining us, Ms. Taylor. Please remember to, you can come up. You can come up. Please remember to introduce yourself. And please watch your step. Please watch your step as you come to the podium. Thank you.
So, good evening, everyone. My name is Carmina Taylor. I am a prevention wellness educator for the kids department. I'm not from Delaware, but I wanted to share with you that for the last 3 years, I've been doing education outreach about drug and alcohol prevention for athletes, because in this state, in your city, there's an increased rise and normalization of edible weed and vaping and weed. And what I wanted to share with you is that as an outside observer, I see all the different community programs. I've been at the PAL, I've been at the Boys and Girls Club. I work with all the community sports leagues. And what I've seen is that the kids and the families are all in different areas, but no one's working for the bigger picture. So I just wanted to express my passion and my heart for the work, and specifically in your city, and just hoping that I can be a vessel. I'm offering myself to this city to work with all your community leaders and all your community organizations. And I just want to leave you with one thought that really is really important in terms of where we are. The emergency visit rates amongst teens in this state, in this city, have increased about 15 to 20% based on psychotic episodes, and that's because kids are ingesting edible weed. In Canada, you can buy as much weed as you want, but you cannot consume or purchase more than 10 milligrams at a time. What's happening here in your state and your city is that kids are getting Oreo cookies, gummy bears, Rice Krispie treats, where they're dosed with 600 milligrams. So 60 times what would be a legal amount in Canada is what kids are consuming. And so with edible weed, it takes about 45 minutes to hit the system, and depending on how you ingest it, it stays longer in your system and you stay high longer. And I just want to leave you one other thing that happened. I went to the PAL Center and I was dealing with Duffy's basketball league, and one of his athletes, 15 years old, skinny like this, ate a whole pound cake of edible weed. And he was high for 37 hours. He was 15. Ate a whole pound cake. And I said, how did you feel coming out of that? He said, I was lucky to be alive. One of the things that's happening specifically in our communities that we're normalizing weed usage, but we're not understanding the impacts of brain development, lung development, or non-development. And so, you know, even my son in college said, Mom, people don't die of weed, but what's happening to our communities is decimating their brain and their functionality. And so here I am as a vessel, working for the state, working for your city residents, working for your youth, and I wanted you to meet me in person. I've been doing it for 3 years. I haven't stopped. I'm a mom of a boy.
30 seconds.
I'm sorry. I'm a mom of a boy, and I want to help, and I want to be a part of your work. And so I wanted you to meet me. I wanted you to know that it's serious, it's real. They're normalizing it, and let's just work together for the bigger picture. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor. Be careful. Would you mind leaving
Yes, sir.
your
Yes, sir.
contact information on this sheet for us, please, right here?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Thank you again for everyone who engaged with us during public comment, those who were in council chambers, and everyone who joined us virtually. At this time, we are going to move to legislative business. Councilmember Darby.
All right. Well, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance 24033, Agenda 0434, an ordinance to amend Chapter 34 of the City Code to provide for residential rent stabilization.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 34 of the City Code to provide for residential rent stabilization.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer it to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and second.
Ordinance 24034, Agenda 0435, an ordinance to amend Chapter 11 of the City Code to revise the City of Wilmington pretreatment ordinance.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 11 of the City Code to revise the City of Wilmington pretreatment ordinance.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move this be known for the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to Public Works and Transportation Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Public Works and Transportation Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I have an ordinance present and call for the first, call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 22037, Agenda 0218, an ordinance to amend Chapter 14 of the City Code pertaining to historic markers.
Mr. President, I move this be known as an enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this ordinance is being presented by City Council to review the approval. For its approval, the ordinance updates the city historical marker program, including the creation of the City Council Subcommittee to determine the location of historical markers and creating a task force to determine the types of markers to be installed. The state already has, just a little history, the state has a historical marker. Them are the bigger ones you see around. But with this ordinance, City Council will be able to put some smaller ones around, but we still have to follow the rules and regulations of the planning department. But it gives us where we can use a little bit of our funding to maybe put a historical marker around, because if we don't identify our history, who will?
Thank you. Councilmember Darby.
Yes, I want to make sure I'm added as a co-sponsor for this piece of ordinance. I'm definitely in support of this. Wilmington has rich history, and especially Black history here in the city of Wilmington, so I'm in support of this.
Thank you. Councilmember Bracy.
I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor as well.
Thank you. And Councilmember Harley.
Me as well, Mr. President, to be a co-sponsor.
Councilmember Fields.
Yes, I'd like to be a co-sponsor, please.
Thank you. And seeing Councilmember Oliver, any closing comments?
No, I would like to say that the average cost of each marker per marker would be $3,000.
Thank you. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field? Yes. Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
12 yeas and 1 absent.
Declared adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I have a ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 24021, Agenda 0417, an ordinance to approve the removal of a portion of Wilson Street located between East 12th and 13th Streets and 2 unnamed alleys located between Wilson Street and Clifford Brown Walk from the official city map.
Mr. President, I move this be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea and nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this ordinance is being presented by the administration for review and approval. The ordinance authorizes the removal of a portion of Wilson Street, and that's the area where the new community CBA school will be moving next to the old Elwyn Institute. So we had to remove the street, and we did have a meeting with community members, residents down at Howard School and the CBE Community Service Building. They come out and talk to a lot of people, and everybody was in favor. So I wanted to make sure the people in the community was going to have a problem with some parking, that individuals came out and spoke to them, and everybody was pretty happy with it. They were satisfied.
Thank you, Councilmember Harley.
Yes, I just wanted to add that the community education building is really doing a phenomenal job with all the children that are in that building, which is Kuumba Academy. We have Great Oaks there, and there's also another school, the wraparound services that they provide for our children as it relates to meals, therapy, whatever they need. They are doing a great job, and I'm excited that they're going to be moving to this location to offer the children recreational activities. That was one of the things that they were not able to fully offer them currently in the building that they're in on 12th and French. So I would like to be added as a co-sponsor because I definitely support the work that the community education building is providing for our children and families. Thank you, Council Member Oliver.
Thank you. Councilmember Bracy.
I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor to this one as well.
Thank you. Seeing no other hands raised, turn to the sponsor.
Thank you, Mr. President. No.
Nothing. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
12 yeas and 1 absent.
Declared adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 24022, Agenda 0418, in order to approve the major subdivision plan entitled 1225 and 1320 East H Street and to authorize removal of a 01.75 acre segment of right-of-way located at the terminus of East H Street from the official city map.
Mr. President, I move this be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea or nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second, that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance, and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President. This ordinance approved the major subdivision plan entitled 1225 and 1320 East H Street and to authorize the removal of a 0.17 acre segment of a right-of-way located at the East 8th Street from the official city map.
And before we go to roll call, I'd like to recognize Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you.
So noted.
Seeing no hands raised, Councilmember Harley.
Yes, I want to say again, as it relates to this particular ordinance, I am excited about it because, as we know, one of our monthly, bi-weekly constituents would come and share their concerns about safety, primarily in Council Member Oliver's district, I believe. And so this particular ordinance not only is going to allow him to know that we've been listening all along, but things take time sometimes, you know, to get done. And I'm looking forward to this ordinance addressing some areas in the 4th District as well. On Walnut Street, that has been a concern that I've been speaking to Public Works about for the last 2 years. as well as in Southbridge on Hill Street. And even though this is coming, we will be working on some other, we're going to be working on some other preventative measures until this gets in place. So I'm excited about this piece of legislation, and I'm looking forward to it taking place and us being involved as to how and what we're going to come up with together. So thank you, Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you.
Councilmember Cabrera.
I would like to be added as a sponsor, please.
Seeing no other hands raised, I'd like to return to the sponsor.
Nothing else to be said. Thank you, Ms. President.
Thank you. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
13 yeas.
Declared adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 23029, revision 1 to agenda 0248, an ordinance to amend chapter 2 of the city code to create a procedure whereby residents may petition the Department of Public Works to conduct traffic studies and install traffic calming devices.
Mr. President, I'd like this to be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second, that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance, and call for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President. I'm glad this has finally come to an end for us to be able, I'm glad we put some money in the budget to be able to have a little pilot program. I was able to work with Kendra, our staff, and Del Dot, had several meetings, and thanks to Nathan, I gotta give Nathan a little credit. He helped me find a proper device. It didn't cost a lot of money. They only cost like $2,500. So we're hoping to start over there with Mr. Earl Tate as a little pilot. And I know, Councilman McCoy was very active with helping with this, as well as Johnson, because it is certain areas like around by McCoy School, the traffic is just flying. So the devices only cost $25,000. I think that's worth it to save somebody's life. And she stated that they don't put a whole lot down in 1 year. Similar like up in Philly, I think they might put 2 or 3, and then the next year they might come back for another area after they do a testing. But with this particular piece of legislation, you do have to have a petition, but it is going to still fall back on Public Works. So it's not like everybody can just bring a petition and they just won't go out and put these devices down. So they're going to have to show where it's really been a traffic problem. And it has shown where Mr. Earl Tate has been, because we've been over there. It's showing that they are flying, and when he's out there with the school bus and they're going around. But nevertheless, I'm just glad we put money in the budget to have a little pilot program just to see how it works. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor, Councilman Johnson, followed by Councilmember Bracy.
Yes, I was a co-sponsor. I didn't know if it was indicated on the record. So if I'm not on there, I would like to be added. As this has been a long time coming. It's one of those bills. I appreciate the Public Works Committee Chairwoman, Oliver, for spearheading this. This has been a long time in the making, probably over a year. So, you know, we finally have this. This is one of those pieces of legislation that might be overlooked. But, you know, a lot of our complaints, our constituent complaints, have to do with public safety issues, not just gun violence, but these kind of issues. So I don't know how we have a signing ceremony for this, but I definitely have to invite Mr. Tate. He has been diligent on us week in and week out on this. And so we do listen. Even the community doesn't think we do. And this is really, I'm hoping if we get this money spent, the first 250, then we can come back and say, hey, we need more. So, you know, that at least should be enough for 10 different, you know, device areas throughout the city, spread out. So I'm looking forward to getting it out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to be added as a co-sponsor as well. And thank you, Councilwoman Oliver, for spearheading this. I think that we all can agree that in every district in the city, traffic and speeding, parking is another conversation, but the speeding is everywhere. So to be able to try something and to kind of look at what we can do as far as calming devices is concerned is a great step forward. So thank you for leading this charge.
Thank you, Councilmember Cabrera, followed by Councilmember McCoy.
I would also like to be added as a sponsor, and yes, this is desperately needed, but there's other areas, so whatever the process is, because I know that people on the west side, especially around Lincoln Street, have been really complaining about how people flying in from Ellesmere, from that area. Everybody slows down in Ellesmere because they know they'll get a ticket, but it's like when they get to that little area there, they start picking up speed and come into the city, and that it is a major, street that gets you to the other side, to Pennsylvania Avenue, but people are flying by, and Union Street is no different. So folks need to just calm down, follow the name of the device, calm down, and take it easy, because the speed limit is 25 miles per hour in the city, not 40 or 50. It's not a racetrack, and this will save lives, prevent accidents, and pedestrians that we've seen that have gotten hit in some of these intersections. So job well done to be able to get this finally, some kind of agreement that we could do something, because I know Councilmember Oliver's been fighting for this for a while. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank Councilwoman Oliver for being persistent with this. We actually started off with just looking at speed bumps, and because of the fact that every department passed the buck on why we weren't allowed to have it, even though there was no ordinance that stated it, she kept, she persevered, and she found a different type of device to deal with the calming of the traffic. So thank you very much, because those corridors on the west side, oh yeah, they need them bad. And so I do thank you, and I would like to be added to the ordinance. Thank you.
Councilmember Fields.
I just want to say, me and Councilwoman McCoy both looked at each other like it's on now, because we have Lancaster and Jackson Street.
Second.
We have all those streets together. So one for the 5th and one for the 6th. But thank you so much for bringing this up.
And seeing no other hands raised, back to the sponsor.
Thank you. I just wanted to reiterate, as Councilman Johnson said, it's enough money for at least 10 devices. So I think this should be, when we do it over there with Earl, we should just call this the Earl Tate bill. But I do owe a lot of gratitude to Nathan Fields, because he was able, Mr. Investigator, who emailed me the proper device and told me to check into that, and that's what I did. So he helped me find a proper device, because of the ambulance and the fires, all them bumps can't be in various streets, so that's why they kept pushing back. But Nathan emailed me, he said, I found something for you. I was like, okay, thank you, Nathan. So I would like to give Nathan no credit, but that's teamwork. Thank you so much, Nathan. So, okay, with that being said,
Thank you. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
13 yeas.
Declared adopted.
He's not here.
You're not here
Nope.
tonight.
Thank you. I just look like he's not even here. Oh, wow. Sorry to hear. I mean, that's great. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to get off track. Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 24028, Agenda 0427, an ordinance to authorize and approve 3 one-year extensions of amended contract 22002 WDPS, pump, valve, and miscellaneous mechanical equipment maintenance services between the City of Wilmington Municipal Maintenance Company.
Mr. President, I move this be known as an enacting clause in the ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second, that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance, and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this is what some of the things we've been talking about for us keeping our water pump clean and how we have old systems. And as you can see, the large amount that it costs just to work with this company to keep our system and pumps and valves updated. So this is an ordinance from the city to exercise a 3-year extension option to amend the contract 22002 WPS pump valve miscellaneous mechanic equipment maintenance service with Municipal Maintenance Company. It's a company that works with Philly, Camden, and Wilmington, all metropolitan areas for a prior year at the options of cities. So they are well known for working on heavy equipment and valves, pumps.
Thank you. And seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
13 yeas.
Declared adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have an ordinance present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 24029, Agenda 0428, an ordinance to authorize and approve 3 one-year extensions of amended contract 22003 WDPS Water Distribution System Electrical Equipment Management and Maintenance Services between the City of Wilmington and Willier Electric Motor Repair Company, Inc.
Mr. President, I move this be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second, that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance, and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President. This too is an example of us keeping our water clean and how, if you look on the ordinance, how much it costs us to keep in exchange with this equipment. This is an ordinance being presented by the administration for review council. The ordinance authorizes the city to exercise a 3-year extensive option for amendment contract of 22002 WDPS pumps, valves, miscellaneous mechanical equipment maintenance service with Municipal Maintenance Company. As I stated, if you look on the ordinance, you can also see how much all of this costs for public works just to keep us with clean water. And I'm just glad that they're working on some of them old systems down there that's been down there for over 100 years, and the valves do have to be fixed, updated. I'm sorry.
Mr. President, if I may. We're on Agenda 0428, just so you're aware.
428, right? Oh, more another one. I'm sorry. Authorized
Excuse me,
extension.
we're on Agenda 0428, which is Ordinance 24029.
Wait a minute. Same thing. Okay, I'm sorry. Authorizing the ordinance, okay, here it is. Ordinance being presented by the administration for review. The ordinance authorizes the city to exercise a 3-year, we're on page 4.
Correct.
Exercise the option to amend contract 22003 WDPS Water Distribution System Electrical Equipment Maintenance and Maintenance Service with the Miller Motor Electrical Repair Company. Sorry. And this too is where we're doing a lot of repairs and updating, keeping our water clean.
Thank you. And seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White?
Sorry about that.
President, I'm sorry, yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes.
13 yeas.
Declared adopted.
Thank you. Mr. President, I have an ordinance present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 24030, Agenda 0429, an ordinance to authorize and approve 2 one-year extensions of amended contract 24009 PWPS Municipal Complex Facilities Management between the City of Wilmington and Asset Management Alliance.
Okay. Mr. President, I move this be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second, that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance, and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yeah, this is the last one for the night. Is there gonna be an end to this? This ordinance is being presented on administration, by the administration, that amends section 42722 of the city code to revise the underground facilities coordinated manual. That correct? Yeah, that's the one we on, okay, making sure. Let me see. I'm sorry. The city code to reverse the underground, okay. Figure C2 regarding the permit patches when, the backfilling involving gas lines as last page amends B of the manual. In
Excuse me
addition-
1 second, Councilmember.
Councilwoman Oliver, we're on Agenda 0429, which is ordinance
That's what I thought.
24030,
Why is it?
Asset Management
It's mixed up.
Alliance.
No, I had one on top, my fault.
Two more.
One more to
One
go?
more after this.
There's one more after.
I'm trying to get to the end of it. I'm sorry, I have these two mixed up. One ordinance 429, ordinance 24030.
Correct.
I'm sorry, I had it mixed up. So this is the ordinance being presented by the administration. Administration extend contract 2400 PWPS. Management between the city of Wilmington and Management Allies, third and final, right?
That's it, man.
Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, here, I had the two mixed up.
Second?
That's it?
Yeah.
It's been properly moved and seconded that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
This ordinance is being presented by the administration to review, approve of the ordinance authorizes the city to exercise a 2-year extension optional for amendment contract with 24009 PWPS Municipal Complex Facility Management with assess management outlets. Okay.
All right, thank you. And seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes,
13 yeas.
declared adopted.
Thank you. Now I'm on the final one. It wasn't no fault of the staff. I had mixed it up over here fumbling, so that was my fault. Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Thank you. Ordinance 24031, Agenda 0430, an ordinance to amend Chapter 42 of the City Code to revise the Underground Facilities Coordination Manual.
Mr. President, I move this be known as an enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea/nay vote.
Second?
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this amends Chapter 42 of the City Code to revise the Underground Facilities Coordination Manual. This is being presented by the administration. This ordinance amends Section 42-722 of the City Code to revise the Underground Facilities Coordination Manual by a new figure C2C regarding permit patches and backfilling involving gas lines as the last patch of Amendment B of the manual. In addition, as housekeeping matter, the ordinance deletes a minor telegraphical error attained in the manual.
Thank you, and seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White?
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby?
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields?
Yes.
Councilman McCoy?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Field?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilman Mills?
Yes.
Councilman Spadola?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy?
Yes.
President Congo?
Yes,
13 yeas.
declared adopted. Councilmember Fields.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
1 second. Thank you. Resolution 24027, Agenda 0436. Whereas pursuant to Section 2363 of the City Code, City Council deem it necessary and proper to specify the requirements for review and approval of city-sponsored grant applications and proposals, including authorization for expedited grant applications when necessary prior to council's approval by resolution. And whereas Highmark Blueprints would like to provide grant funds to the mayor's office in an amount up to $49,000. And
Mr. President, I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea and no vote.
Second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. The resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea or nay vote on the question.
Mr. President, this resolution is being presented by the administration for council's review for approval. This resolution authorizes the mayor's office to accept the grant from Highmark Blueprints in the amount of $49,000. The grant funds will be used to support a citywide health initiative, including setting up health-related events throughout the city and purchasing healthcare equipment such as blood pressure monitors, glucose monitors, and fitness equipment. No local matching funds are required. In a committee meeting, we had Ms. Donnie Smith present on this resolution, and it's basically based around heart health. And I really appreciate all of my co-sponsors that felt it not robbery to support this, because it's not just for us, it's going to be for city residents as well.
Councilmember Harley.
Yes, I want to thank Councilmember Fields for working with Donnie Smith to get this grant to come into our city as it relates to healthy communities. It was a very inspiring feeling to just hear her talk about the impact of us getting this equipment, these tools, to be able to move the needle around, as you said, Councilmember Fields, around heart health. I'm looking forward to us getting the grant, receiving the grant, and I know that based on what Ms. Smith said, that there will be cohorts, I believe, in terms of when this gets started. So it's going to be exciting when I think about the 4 high rises that I have in my district. I know Councilmember Fields have we all have high rises in our district. So I'm thinking about, our seniors as I'm thinking about this particular grant and the impact it's going to have in our community, and especially for our seniors and those that are dealing with heart health. So thank you. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember McCoy.
Yes, please add me as a co-sponsor to the resolution.
Thank you. I'd like to also be added as a co-sponsor. Councilmember Oliver.
Thank you. I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor. Thank you.
Thank you. And seeing no other hands raised, return to the sponsor.
I'd just like to say thank you again. And she did, even though she talked about heart health, she talked about mental health as well, and all the different health components that we have to deal with, especially in the Black and brown community. So again, I hope this is not the last grant that we get for our city of Wilmington, for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilwoman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby, Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola.
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
12 yeas and 1 absent.
Declared adopted. Councilmember Johnson.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for first and second reading.
Ordinance 24035, Agenda 0437, an ordinance to authorize and approve the contract between the City of Wilmington and Passport Labs, Inc. for parking citation and permit management.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to authorize and approve the contract between the City of Wilmington and Passport Labs, Inc. for parking citation and permit management.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading ordinance and refer it to the Public Works and Transportation Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Public Works and Transportation Committee.
Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 24028, Agenda 0438, whereas the Wilmington Learning Collaborative is a voluntary network of schools located in the city of Wilmington that spans across multiple school districts, Brandywine, Christina, and Red Clay, and whereas the WLC's primary objective is to improve outcomes for students by empowering educators, school leaders,
Right.
and
At this
community.
time, I move for this resolution to be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea-nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
This is a pretty important position. Wilmington Learning Collaborative, as those of you know, is very instrumental in trying to work in reimagining, revamping our system in Newcastle County. This position was previously filled by Mr. Donald Patton. Now he has, voluntarily retired and resigned from the position. So we're filling in with the very capable Helen Anderson. As you know, some of you who may know her, she has a great family heritage, of course, in the city. And she looks to serve out the remainder of Mr. Patton's term. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd also like to recognize Councilmember Darby, who has joined us virtually. Councilmember Fields.
Yes, can I be a co-sponsor? Added as a co-sponsor.
Thank you. Councilmember Spadola.
I'm happy to support this. I had two people who I have a lot of respect for in the education community reach out to me and say they think Helen Anderson would be great on the board, so happy to support it.
Thank you.
You're gonna add me as a co-sponsor.
Councilmember Oliver. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, and add me as a co-sponsor.
Thank you. Seeing no other hands raised, turn to the sponsor for any final comment.
No final comments.
Thank you. Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Present.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Present.
President Congo.
Yes.
11 yeas and 2 present.
Declared adopted. Councilmember Field.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance 24036, Agenda 0439, an ordinance to amend Chapter 11 of the City Code to prohibit noise disturbances that target a particular residence.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 11 of the City Code to prohibit noise disturbances that target a particular residence.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that it be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer it to the Public Safety Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Public Safety Committee. Councilmember Cabrera.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a resolution to present.
Resolution 24029, Agenda 0440, whereas the City of Wilmington is an entitlement community for purposes of the Community Development Block Grant, the Home Investment Partnership Program, the Emergency Solution Grant Program, and the Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS Program. And whereas the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development regulations require a consolidated application process for funds for the CDBG program, the Home Program, the ESG program, and HOTWA program. And whereas City Council desires for the city to participate in a consolidated plan. And whereas federal fiscal years 2021 and 2024 correspond with city fiscal years 2022 and 2025 respectively. And whereas City Council's Community Development and Urban Planning Committee has completed its review of the proposed federal fiscal year 2024, city fiscal year 2025 annual action plan pursuant to a determination that such review should be completed prior to and in effect be separate from the enactment of the city fiscal year 2025 annual operating budget.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed, and adopted by a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second the resolution be received, recorded, filed, and adopted by yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, as noted in the title, as being read by our clerk, this is a community development block grant. There are many organizations within our city that count on funding. Many of them have to do with housing and some other programs. So this is basically something that we do. We help these different communities, and it's something that we apply for every year. I do want to mention, and maybe other members, if they serve on any of the boards, to take a quick look at the list. I will mention, although I should have rotated off by now, Interfaith Community Housing of Delaware, that I was on this board. I'm not supposed to be on there now, but not sure my status. And Ministry of Caring, I am currently on that board, as are a couple other council members here. We have no direct work with the distribution of these funds or anything of that nature. So I will vote for this evening. But if there's any questions that my council members would like to ask.
Councilmember Oliver?
Yes, Mr. President, is it possible you can ask the parliamentary, if someone's on the board, is it possible for them to recuse themselves from that particular board but vote for the whole package? I mean, but vote for the package.
Parliamentary, did you want to speak to that?
It's generally not an answer. It's a legal question. I'm not prepared to answer at this time. I'm sorry.
So you said you're not prepared to answer?
I'd have to do some research. It's a legal question, kind of outside the rules of, council's rules for this session.
Thank you, Mr. President. I mean, I can finally say I don't have a family member in here, finally, but somebody told me if somebody is in here, you can say that, but I just wanted to hear you say it. But I mean, I don't have a problem because I don't have anything in here to share.
Thank you. Seeing no other hands raised. Sponsor, any more comment?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Present.
Councilwoman Darby,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
I don't see anything.
Council,
I know.
Councilwoman Oliver.
No, I'm sorry.
Councilmember Oliver, yes or
Point
no?
of
please?
order. She should have did this before. Point of
Councilmember Oliver,
order.
yes or no,
Like,
please?
we're
Oh, no,
voting.
yes. Yes.
Okay,
thank you. Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilman Spadola,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes,
12 yeas and 1 present.
declared adopted.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and second reading.
Ordinance 24-037, Agenda 0441, an ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the City Code relating to the registration of vacant properties.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 4 of the City Code relating to the registration of vacant properties.
Second reading of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer it to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and referred to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
That's all for me this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you. At this time, we will move to petitions and communications. Councilmember White.
None at this time, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Darby. Councilmember Darby.
Not at this time.
Thank you. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, Mr. President. I wanted to clarify what I said earlier about the markers. The markers are just historical markers.
Councilmember Oliver, I don't believe that we can discuss any legislation that was on the agenda during petition and communication.
Okay, I do have something that I wanted to say. I can't think of it, so, no.
Thank you. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just want to remind everyone of the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival that's going to be starting on June 19th through June 22nd, the Wednesday before we have our next council meeting. Also, the Delaware Contemporary Arts Spirit Week started June 5th. It ends June 9th, which is on 550 Jefferson Street. And I wanted to also add that the Wilmington Public Library is going to host jam sessions after the Clifford Brown Jazz Festival starting at 10 p.m. Starting on June 19th. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Fields.
Yes. Always work hard and have fun in what you do, because I think that's when you're more successful. You have to choose to do it. Simone Biles. What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. Ziggy Zargler. That's it, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. The only thing that I wanted to state this evening is after the press conference that we had last week about what was going on with the young women in the city, I received a phone call from Ms. Charlotte Miller Lacey, who is the founder of I Am My Sister's Keepers. And her question to me was why she was not called or involved, because she has a young women's mentor program. And so I just wanted to make certain that all of the people who actually have young ladies in their homes, that they feel as though it is unsafe for them to be outside, they're welcome to come to MSK Community Center, which is 1009 Sycamore Street. They do have programming for everyone, but they do have a mentor program for our young women. They're starting at ages 6 all the way until graduation. And then those who are coming back after graduating and going to college, they're volunteers. So you're all welcome.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
Just again, thank all those who tuned in to our press conference held today. Me and several of my colleagues, we're doing the full court press on exactly what we have been achieving for our communities in terms of resources. So our job, we haven't frankly done a good enough job, is making sure the information gets out. The assistance we have for both home repair, home ownership programs, first-time home buyer program, small minority business funding, HBCU Foundation money, the additional just dollars, and also the water assistance, the dollars that we have. So please come to our council. Please email us, text us, whatever you have to do. 311, of course, for some of the applications, but we need to make sure the money gets out of the community, because the worst thing is when there's money left over and it has to go back in a revolving fund. So we're going to do more information, have several workshops on how the money we have can directly go to the community help. And last but not least, we do on the west side is Italian Festival Week is upon us. St. Anthony's Festival begins this Sunday, June 9th to the 16th. Please come out and celebrate. It is promised to be a enjoyable atmosphere as always, and it also is safety is paramount. There's been incidents obviously around our community regarding festivals. I've been assured that not only is the Wilmington Police will have a presence, but also private security. So it will be safe for everyone. So please come out and enjoy.
Thank you. Councilmember Field.
Yes, just one quick announcement. This Friday is the June Art Loop, and the Howard Pyle Studio on Franklin Street will be open to the public 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock or so. And I encourage anybody that is interested in art to attend. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tomorrow, as Councilmember Field noted, it is the Art Loop, and at Eunice LaFate Studio, we will be presenting a resolution to kick off Caribbean Heritage Month as well. And as Councilmember Johnson mentioned, the Italian Festival will be starting Sunday, but right now we're in the middle of the Greek, and that continues through Saturday evening. Also, we have Juneteenth, and there's several activities, but the one that's coming up before our next meeting is going to be a block party that's going to be held on the 15th on Walnut Street between 12 and 3. The YMCA is a sponsor of that. And let me see, there's one more thing. Oh, reminder that we have the free concerts at the Urban Artists Exchange on Walnut Street, formerly the stables, the police horse stables. And those concerts are free. They start in the evening, 6 p.m. And then there's other concerts that are taking place throughout the city. So folks, please check our website and see all the free activities that you can come out with your children and enjoy. We are entering into the season of festivals, and Wilmington certainly offers a celebration of all cultures. So I hope that people will get to see you out there, out and about. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Mills.
Nothing tonight, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Spadola.
Nothing tonight, Council President.
Thank you, Councilmember Bracy.
Yes, two things. One is, oh, sorry. Is on the, sorry, my camera's not working. On the 22nd of June is the City Pride in the Park at Tilton Park, 700 North Broome Street. And there's also the, Councilwoman Cabrera mentioned the Juneteenth Festival, but that morning, starting at 11 a.m., is the Juneteenth Parade. It's gonna start at 11th and King, going down to Tubman-Garrett Park, Tubman-Garrett Park, where the activities will be held. So please come out and support all of the Juneteenth activities as they are announced. Thank you.
Thank you. And also, I would like to wish everyone a happy Juneteenth on Wednesday, June 19th. And I was very, very surprised and happy to get a text from Earl Tate, who was not here, but he was watching. And he said, he thanks everyone. He said, thank you for looking out for him and everyone down on Carter Street. So thank you for tuning in, Mr. Tate. Also want to say happy Father's Day to all of the father and father figures out there. Our public comment, was filled with a lot of community members who are going through some very difficult times. And I just want to make sure that we as a council, we as elected officials, and we as just neighbors and humans pay close attention and make sure that we are responding to their comment. I want to thank our chief of staff, who immediately sent a message to the administration to follow up on some of their requests. So again, I want them to know that they were heard, and I wanted them to know that we are thankful for them and for coming and sharing their concerns with us. And we always want to invite everyone to come down to council chambers. If you can't, you're always welcome to join us virtually every first and third Thursday. Also, please, you can call us or go to our website for all of our committee meetings that you can also attend and engage in public comment. Our number at City Council is 302-576-30. 2140. That's right. Thank you. I had a brain freeze.
Mr. President. 20 years,
That
Mr.
number,
President.
I know. 302-576-2140. All right. You can call us, and our staff will help you or get you in contact with your local council member. And with that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Thank you for everyone for joining us. Have a great evening. Meeting adjourned.